All right, lots to talk about and unpack from the week 3 that we've seen so far in advance of the Monday Nighters tonight. From Thursday Night Football on Prime Video, where the Cowboys are going to be playing the Giants to kick off week 4, is our friend Walter Payton, Man of the Year, Andrew Whitworth. Good to see you, sir. How are you?
I'm good, brother. Good to be on here this morning with you.
Dude, I don't even know where to start. All right, let's jump in with the Cowboys first, since you're going to see them Thursday night. I'm doing shrug emojis for those who are listening. Right? I mean, what do you make of them, Andrew?
Yeah, I think it's unbelievable. You think about this team and really what people looked for this season. Some of the things we were worried about are showing their head. I know the Cowboys were very defensive of their moves in the offseason, but right now this ability to stop the run is it's not good because as a defense, I mean, to me in this league, I don't care if you're talking about the best teams or the worst. A lot of teams can run the football, and I think that they've got to show the ability to stop it if they want to play great defense and beat any of these top contending teams in the NFC.
Well, I mean, and one of the things, too, that we were talking about before is you're a defensive coordinator. You are just saying, okay, we're stopping 88, whatever we can do. 88 is just not going to get it, and he'll get his still because he's awesome. But who else is there? Right. Yeah. That's it, right?
That's it. And I think, we wanted to see Jake Ferguson show up some. Hopefully, he's a guy that can work into this offense more. I think he's got a lot of talent, but we haven't seen it. And then it had to be a bitter pill yesterday watching Derrick Henry run the football all over him. And, you didn't make that choice back in free agency last year. And then on the other side, as an offense in Dallas, I mean, not being able to run the ball at all. It had to hurt to watch that guy beat you right there in Dallas.
And in terms of line play, that was the conversation coming out of the opener of the season in regarding the Ravens and how that's going to be of issue. What are you seeing from I guess, week 3 in what turns out to be a get-right game for the Ravens? What do you see about that? Because that is the question a lot of people have about the Ravens being able to repeat from last year's success or not.
Yeah, I think for me, it's one of those things. Anytime you start having new guys up front, there's a time period it's going to take for that to gel and for those guys to individually play well and collectively play well. And I think we're going to see it as this season goes. That group will get better together, but also you kind of see the emphasis of, man, it looks a lot more like, some plays on that tape look more like the Greg Roman offense that we used to see with Lamar Jackson, because I think to me, this is, hey, how do we help these O-linemen play better? Let's really use Lamar. Let's run the football. Let's use Derrick Henry and Lamar to be able to kind of challenge defenses to take care of all these possible quarterback keeps. It could be a run to the left. It could be Lamar going the other direction. It could be a give of some kind. You could see that was really the emphasis. Let's take some pressure off our O-line and just let them run block. Let's just get good at one phase of the game, and then let's move from there. And I think you saw definite progression in that way.
Andrew Whitworth, Prime Video. It's going to be Cowboys and Giants in just 3 nights to kick off week number 4 right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Your impression of the 3-0 Chiefs through 3 games is what, Andrew?
You know what? Listen, winners win. That's my impression. You know what I mean, Rich? Hey, winners win, man.
Yes.
I got my mug this morning. Winners win. But yeah, I mean, I think, people are going to talk about, hey, they've played these teams close. It's been close games. There's only so much point differential. Listen, you know what? The goal in the NFL is to go out and win every week, and they keep finding ways to win games. And so to me, I learned my lesson last year, and I'm not doing it. I fell for it last year all season long. Like, hey, this team's going to have to be better. No, I'm not doing it. I'm a Chiefs. Chiefs are still the team. They're the team to beat until somebody shows me different.
Left tackle doesn't concern you, though, Andrew?
It's definitely going to be an issue. When they get against one of these really good teams, I think, unfortunately, it's going to be the difference in one of these games, and they're going to have to figure it out. But I thought that, it's looked better. And so I think that probably leaving the young guy with an opportunity to kind of watch for a little bit and then see where he's at later in the year. I think that's a huge thing. To walk in there and protect for Patrick Mahomes is a big assignment. But I think they'll get it figured out. And Andy Reid, man, he figures it out every year. No matter what their weakness is, he finds ways around it. So I got a lot of faith and belief in him and figuring out the best way for them to move forward.
Is that your opinion about what's going on with him and Kelsey? They haven't connected hardly at all. Now, obviously, you're 3-0, and I don't see those pictures on the standings. But what do you think there? Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something where we know this. When you play the Kansas City Chiefs, teams come in and they talk all week about how you make sure this connection doesn't happen. And it's not just because, to me, it's something like, oh man, it's going to be explosive plays to Kelsey. To me, it's a lot of, you watch even the playoffs, when those two start connecting, it just feels like the momentum, the energy of that football team just electrifies. And it's like, man, we don't know if we can stop them when we start that. Because Kelsey is such a fireplace, just a spark to their team, and his demeanor, his attitude, the passion he has for football. And so I think teams come out and say, hey, we don't want this guy to catch the football no matter what. And we saw some of this last year in the regular season, that Kelsey had kind of a slower start at times during the regular season last year, and then all of a sudden he exploded in the playoffs. And so I'm not that worried about it. I think this is something where, as the season goes on, I think sometimes Andy Reid just plays games with everybody all the time, and I think Travis will get more involved, and when they need him, they'll be able to rely on him.
Andrew Whitworth here on the Rich Eisen Show. I'll ask you the poll question that we unpacked in the first hour of our program, Andrew. The surprising 3-0 team you believe in the most, the Vikings, the Seahawks, or the Steelers?
It's no questions, the Vikings. I think Kevin O'Connell is on his way to Coach of the Year right now. I think this guy has really taken leaps and bounds as a coach and a play caller and everything else. He's starting to get that respect he deserves, and he's got a defensive coordinator who has just been giving people the business. That is for sure every week. Brian Flores is dominating this league right now defensively, and Kevin's done an amazing job as a play caller. It's been really cool to watch Sam Darnold and really him being, playing with confidence and belief in himself. And looking like the guy he was at USC. I mean, all the things you saw there that you thought would make him good, it seems like Kevin O'Connell's brought them all back and brought them back to life. And so this division, I think, is going to be a fun one to watch play out, because Detroit obviously was the team everybody thought was going to walk away with a chance to go play in the NFC Championship. And now the Vikings and the Packers, what the Packers have also done with Malik Willis. I mean, you know what? This division could get interesting by the end of the year.
Yeah, and that's where I was going to go to follow up, Andrew. A couple of follow-ups. Number one is, I think Matt LaFleur has kind of set himself up for Coach of the Year, too, right now. I mean, Malik Willis has looked terrific, just superb. And to get 2 wins without Jordan Love, and it looks like they might get him back in time for the Vikings this coming week, which is awesome. That is amazing what LaFleur does and what he cooks up, Andrew.
It is. I talked to him yesterday a little bit after their game, just kind of give him some love and say, man, it's really impressive to watch what you've done with this football team over the last few weeks. To think about it, man, these are those opportunities for a team. And that's why I think Green Bay's sneaky on this one. You have these moments happen and you watch a team kind of this galvanizing moment where they all come together and say, hey, we don't know what our situation is. We don't know how Malik's going to play, but we're going to all come together and play the best football we possibly can. And then, oh, by the way, the guy that you really counted on, it's not like his year is over. Jordan Love's coming back. And this team has found a way to just go play their absolute best already. And so when he comes back and now you add his element to it, I think, man, they're one of those teams you got to say, wow, like that's pretty impressive to watch. And then let's see where this team heads. And that's why I really think this division could be crazy, is that you really could have the Vikings and the Packers being the 2 lead dogs in this division quickly. Just by the way they've handled the last few weeks, you've got to be really impressed. And man, could you not be more happy for Malik Willis? And this is a guy we all wrote off and said, man, I don't think this guy can play quarterback in the NFL, how it started. And then now here he is. And I think that's the best thing that maybe a Bryce Young or some of these other young quarterbacks around the league that have struggled early can look at, is there's more proof that, you know what, whether you're ready early or not, it doesn't matter. Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, like look across the league. You just got to stick with it and stay with it, and your opportunity and your fit will come, and you got a chance to go find your success.
And we'll put a pin in Bryce Young for a second, but I do want to follow up one more time with what you just said earlier about how Brian Flores brought the heat and how he is bringing the heat. And this is a copycat league, Andrew, right? And we talk in the media about blueprints for other teams to follow. Did the Vikings give a blueprint on how to handle C.J. Stroud in this Texans offense? Andy?
Yeah, I think you'll see more of it. But the problem is, I think with Brian Flores is he has a style and a way he coaches and they play that he's always done. And I think, to me, it's something that he's mastered. And so it's, sometimes you got to be careful trying to copy, because if you're not a master at it and you don't do it as well as he does, and you don't disguise it and give people as many problems, he's done it so long, he can do all this disguises, he can show zeros, he can show all these different things that you think are coming, and then have all the little things that come off of it. They really trick these quarterbacks and changes the picture for them once the ball snap. But I think you'll see more teams try to copy it. I just think Brian Flores is doing it at a clip right now that's pretty hard to match. I mean, he's got to be feeling pretty good in those meeting rooms right now. They played some good football teams and been able to really show them up over the last few weeks.
Yeah, and their next two games again at Green Bay, and we're hoping we get some good news on Sam Darnold's knee today. He did finish the game on Sunday, and then in London taking on the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. You want to talk about needing to disguise things for somebody? That will be a great one. I'm happy to say I'll be in the booth for that on NFL Network. Andrew Whitworth here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's talk about two things near and dear to your heart before I send you on for the rest of your day. Andy Dalton, man. Those are three words. Andy Dalton, man.
The Red Rifle, baby. He's back.
What was that? What was that in Vegas?
It was awesome. I loved it, Rich, for a lot of reasons. One, I think Andy Dalton's one of those guys that's continued to step up when he's been called on in the league, and obviously playing with him for a long time in Cincinnati. I know the man he is, and really his passion for playing the game. And so it was cool to see him have that moment with that team for the Carolina Panthers, to get just a little bit of positivity and have some fun and look like a team that is enjoying competing was awesome. But also, I think it's a great lesson for us. I mean, a lot of times we're looking for all these reasons to blame a team in a start and how things are going. And you look at all the Bryce Young talk, and it's, man, if he had protection, if he had weapons, they don't give him enough things to go win, blah, 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 blah. But sometimes it's just, the truth is, it's a young quarterback who's not quite ready to execute the offense at the level that everybody else could, that's a veteran, that's been there and done it. And that's okay. But it doesn't mean that it's the offensive line. It doesn't mean that it's every other player on the team's terrible. I think Andy Dalton showed that, you know what, a good football team with a veteran quarterback who knows what he's doing and can bring a little spark and maybe just some steel and calm to everybody, to where everybody's not so nervous about having to be perfect. It can show you that any given Sunday in the NFL, somebody can win. And I think Carolina Panthers got to be feeling good today, and I know Andy Dalton does. And as they move forward, it's going to be fun to watch how this team goes from here.
So, yeah, I mean, it did show that there is enough there to win a football game, and convincingly, I might add, as Dalton is the first quarterback. We mentioned this before. It's crazy. First quarterback this year with 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in the same game. It's Andy Dalton for a team that was supposedly, incapable of doing anything. And so that said, though, what does it say a little bit more about Bryce Young? It's just as simple as he's not ready, because he's going to have to be ready at some point, don't you think, Andrew?
Yeah, I think that really what happens is some of these guys, you look at it and people go, well, it's year 2. But the reality is year 1 was such a disaster in the sense of how he was getting hit, how things went, that you start to tear down a guy's confidence level. And then they start to think of the negative things while they're playing football. And to me, when you watched him at the beginning of this year, people say, oh, he hasn't got any better, he hasn't done all these things. Like, I look at that and I see a guy who's been beaten down confidence-wise, not had the game play out the ways he would like to, and it's just made him second-guess himself all the time. And he doesn't believe what he's saying. He doesn't believe when he's moving around. He doesn't have confidence in himself to go out and be successful, and you see it in their play. And then you see down the road, they get another opportunity. They get in the right situation, whether it be Baker or Sam or any, Geno Smith, you name the guys down the line that get these opportunities later, that the right fit happens, and you're like, man, where did this come from? And it's like, no, it's always there. It's just a matter of who can bring it out of them. And so I don't think this is the end for Bryce Young. I think he's got to find a better situation. I don't think it's going to be in Carolina personally. I think eventually he's going to have to go somewhere else and get a new coach and new surroundings, not because of what they have is bad, but just for him to kind of have a new, fresh start. I think that's going to be the best thing.
All right, and last one for you. Your other guy that you had is back. Matthew Stafford. He really is so much fun to watch when he's cooking and slinging and making plays and getting peeled off the turf to do it again and again. And that's what seemed to happen on Sunday. What is it like being in the huddle with this man in moments like that, Andrew?
I think, Rich, the best way I can compare it is Matthew Stafford is like John Wayne or like a legendary cowboy. He's that dude that you're like, man, I'm in the huddle with one bad, you know what? I texted him yesterday. I texted him after the game. I said, listen, I love you. You are a bad mother, you know what? Like you are. You are that guy. He is the dude, man. His toughness, his ability to, no matter any of those plays, Rich, not only are those things happening when he's getting knocked around, things are going all over the place. You see the hits, everything he goes through. He doesn't say a freaking word. He doesn't complain. He doesn't, say, hey, can you block better? Can you give me more time? He says nothing. He stands back in the huddle and he goes, man, boys, that hurt. Here's the next play call. And it's just like, all right, it's like, he doesn't care at all. He just shoves it all off and says, you know what, let's go get one. And I love his attitude, his demeanor, and I couldn't be happier for him, man. I tell you what, he's starting to show with him and Sean McVay. Give us whoever, put anybody in the lineup you want. We can beat you on any Sunday. Bring it. And I love that.
Yeah, I mean, again, no Nakua, no Kupp, no left side of the line, right? And when I say no for that, it's backups. And coming off of a total beatdown in Arizona, staring 0-3 right in the face, down 10 against the Niners team that's also without its star players. That was truly breathtaking to watch that finale.
It is. And what back-to-back wins for the Rams versus the Niners. This is, hey, let's start a new trend. We went a long time without beating them in the season. So this was good for them. And I think it's great for this football team because, they still have a lot of young guys. You look at that defense. I mean, there's a lot of young players up front, and they're only going to get better. And I thought they were doing a good job of bringing some pressure, being able to win some on the edges. And so I think, to me, when you look at this team, it's like, hey, yeah, this year they had a lot of potential if they had some of these guys healthy. But I'm looking at the youth on defense, some of the guys they have up front on the offensive line that have shown that they're going to have bright futures as well once they're healthy. That I think, man, that honestly things do look a lot more up with this football team than you think. It's just the immediate of all these injuries that are hard to take on. But hopefully they get some of these guys back. If they can steal a couple games and get themselves on a run. I think one thing the league has shown us with the Carolina Panthers yesterday, this season, it's going to happen all year long. It's a lot closer than everybody thinks, every single team in this league, from 1 to 32. So I think you just got to get healthy and get yourself on get a momentum run, and anybody's got a chance of getting in these playoffs.
Yeah, man, I was going to ask you who's the toughest team, who's the team to beat in the NFC right now? Because you didn't even say the 3-0 Seahawks were the 3-0 team that you're willing to put your marker on. You went with the 3-0 Vikings instead. But Green Bay's sitting there, Detroit's sitting there, the Eagles with Saquon. I mean, without him, they could be 0-3. I mean, the NFC South having two 2-0 teams that both lost at home, including the Bucks to Bo Nix, who couldn't really put 2 and 2 together, it seemed, for the first 2 weeks.
They got me in a lot of trouble, Rich. They got me in a lot of trouble yesterday. I put my wife was looking for a fantasy defense. I gave her the Bucks defense. I said, honey, listen, you know what? Bo Nix and the Broncos have struggled. I'll take care of you, babe. I got you. Got her to give me a big thank you, the whole deal. By 5 o'clock, I was getting some very ugly texts. I was not appreciative. She was not kind to me about my fantasy moves. So the Bucks got me yesterday. I had them winning, and I had them winning big, and didn't.
You and most everybody not in the Knicks or Peyton or the Walton household, man, for sure. Safe journey to New York. Air Al, you hopping Air Al for this one, Andrew?
I'm actually going early. I'm going, going on the commercial flight. Yep.
Okay.
Air Al this week. Air Al.
All right. Well, enjoy it. I always enjoy seeing you out there. You're awesome. Say hi to everybody on the Prime Video gang. Thanks for the time here.
Yeah, appreciate it, Rich.
You got it. That's the one and only Andrew Whitworth, Super Bowl champion, Walter Payton Man of the Year, and a smart Rich Eisen Show mug user right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.